sometimes it's very important to have someone in your life that believes in you until your belief kicks in. It's about, who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? Because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up someplace else. Do what Mr. Washington said. Mr. Brown, you want to make it in life? I said, yes, sir. He said, number one, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number two, practice OQP, only quality people. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. If you run around with 9 broke people, he said, I guarantee you, you will become number 10. And he said, number 3, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are.
It has to work or it has to work.
Welcome to Circle of Greatness. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davis. And today, I don't believe I ever said I've had a GOAT on the show. When I say GOAT, y'all know what it stands for. Greatest of all time. I'm talking about the Godfather is speaking. I'm talking about the living legend. I'm talking about, he just told me that you can't have a success without a successor. Like, every speaker you see out here was inspired by this gentleman who I'm about to bring on the stage. And I am so excited to bring him up. World-renowned speaker, best-selling author, entrepreneur, family man, and a mentor to me, Mr. Les Brown. How you doing today, sir?
I'm blessed. I'm better than good, better than most, and sometimes even better than that, to be in the presence of greatness.
Oh, wow, man. You're a bad man. Thank you so much for taking time to come out and come up to the show. It means so much to me just to be able to sit down with a legend, man. I want to say thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for what you're doing. You know, it was 53 years ago when I took a stage and said, you have something special, you have greatness in you. That's the mantra that I always embrace, because I had someone when I was younger than you, when my senior year in high school, who told me that I had greatness in me, and it meant something to me because I was formerly a foster kid and then adopted, and I've never known my biological parents, just discovered them 3 years ago.
Wow. And
they're from Gainesville, Georgia. And the first time I spoke out of Florida was at Dr. Barbara King's church, Hillside Spiritual Center. Did not know that my birth mother was on the front row. And a niece that I just met, she said, all during your message, she cried and she kept saying, that's my boy. Now, she didn't introduce herself to me. I knew her. I mean, she knew me, but I didn't know her. And she said, I thought she was just agreeing with you. I did not know that she was saying, that's my boy. That's my son, yeah.
Wow.
Because she was a motivational speaker as well.
Wow.
And my grandmother.
After 3 years, after all, wow.
Yeah, and here I am. I'm 80. And so just
you
to
look
discover
amazing,
that.
Man.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, they say when we're born, we favor our parents, but as we get older, we look like the life we live.
Wow, well, you lived a good life, I see.
Thank you, sir.
Let me ask you this. One thing and I may be getting it wrong, but I watched you say this one time, and it was powerful to me. And I may be saying it wrong, so you may have to correct me, but it's the rendition of it. And you were telling this story. I watched it on YouTube. It's so powerful. And it was like a kid stuck in a tree. It was like one kid stuck in a tree or two kids. And the idea that it was a branch. The only way to get this kid out of the tree was he had to physically pull down and break this branch, get him out.
Is it some 2 boys, and you have a good memory. Yes. And they went out playing on ice.
Yep.
And ice broke.
Yep.
And so he could see his friend, but he couldn't reach him, and because he can see him through the thin ice. So he looked from a distance and saw this tree, and he ran and he went up the tree, and he was able to break a branch off and come back and start beating the ice viciously. And he saved his friend. And when the rescuers came, they were looking at him. They had a blanket around his friend, and they started talking among themselves, saying, how could he do that, as small as he is, and to break that big branch? And the older guy said, I can tell you how he did it. They said, how? He said, because there was no one there to tell him
he
he
couldn't.
could not do it.
Ooh. When you said that, and
Yes.
I messed that whole story up, but
Yeah.
now I heard it from the
You
legend
got it
himself.
right, yes.
And I thought it was in a tree, but that's what it was. The tree broke the branch to break the ice, and how could you do it? Because it was no one there to tell me you couldn't.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's why your program is so important, because we are in a culture where we have been not educated, but we've been treated less than, and we see it now in a very emboldened way. And so when you have a program that says greatness, in the face of the stuff that young people in your age category and younger have been promoting, and you produce a program called greatness, a program that's not promoting what I call the hood virus, HIV, hood infected virus, AIDS, addiction to incarceration and death syndrome. When you talk about greatness, I said, I want to talk to this young brother because you are operating under the thinking of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. So you have raised the bar. And I want to say to all of the people who are honoring rap music, honor greatness, because this is our future.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I
Yes,
really
sir.
appreciate
Appreciate you.
Man, let me ask you, man. You've been 80 years. You've been doing speaking for
53 years.
53 years. I mean, the ETs of the world, the Miles Monroes in the world. Like, you have really been able to cultivate and show them. Who was the person that showed you that it could be done? Was there a mentor? Like, was there a
Absolutely.
what was that person that was like, "Oh, I could do this," especially as an African American man? Like,
It was a brother. His name is Mike Williams. He's my mentor to this day.
Wow.
And he saw this Les Brown before I saw him. Sometimes it's very important to have someone in your life that believes in you until your belief kicks in. And at that time, he was my newsman, and I was a disc jockey in Columbus, Ohio. LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only, young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. I was a bad dude back in the day, all right?
Yeah.
And he said, hey, Brownie. I said, yeah. He said, can I have a conversation with you? I said, yeah. He said, are you open to coaching? And I said, yes. He said, you can do more than rap. You can do more than entertain people. I said, what do you mean? He said, you can hold people's attention. You can educate them too and help them to become aware of the things that's maintaining their detriment. You have the ability to communicate and connect with people that you can't even see. This is radio.
wow.
And people respond when you speak on the air. And so talking to me between, at that time, records, you don't know what records are, but this is before cassettes and 8-tracks.
That's when they literally putting a thing on there. And
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. Come
Yeah,
on now. Yeah. And so he talked to me and created a shift in my thinking. And I think that where we are and the program and your thinking that has produced this concept, interviewing people, but first of all, the title is a reference of holding yourself to a higher standard.
Yeah.
You're saying you have greatness in you.
Yeah.
And we're called to do the greater work. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world.
Yeah.
So that's why I applaud you for the work that you do. We need more young men like yourself,
Yeah, I appreciate
amplifying the voice and raising the mantra of greatness.
I appreciate it. I got to ask you, I want to say his name was Rock. Drink Rock Drink.
Drink
Was it?
Rock Drink.
Drink
Yeah,
Rock
yeah.
Drink. And you went on that show and you was prepared. And I was at a sermon the other day with Darius Daniels, and he said a lot of people say they want to be like Mike. They want to be like Les. They want to be like the ETs. Like, they want to be y'all as these public figures, but they're not willing to do what was private. So you were prepared to take that moment on when Rock was drinking. You went behind that booth and you just got busy, and that kind of helped catapult everything that is going on. My question to you is, how important is it now to stay ready? Like, that was a stay ready. Like, what should people be doing right now as speakers and not to get ready and be prepared for when their moment eventually comes?
Well, I believe it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
Yeah.
And let me share with you that all speakers, as you know, are not the same. And what I mean by that, you have a lot of people who are speaking and they haven't done anything. I'm impressed with you because you're not just giving lip service to greatness, but the work that you're doing represent that. This place where you are, the mission that you've taken on, the marketing strategies that you are helping people to monetize their dreams, to grow their businesses, the strategic partnerships that you have. When you think about the circle of greatness that Harvard University did a study, it was a 78-year study, and they wanted to know what was it that allowed the 1% who graduated from Harvard to be successful. What did they have in common? And what they had in common is what you and the circle of greatness have. And they said they were in a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, that they saw partnerships as the new currency.
Yeah.
And they fed off each other. They brought the best out of each other. They held each other accountable to a higher standard. So you're modeling that, because in this space where we are, where a lot of people are brokenhearted and spirits are broken because the aftermath of the election, you're saying, listen, we must have mental resiliency. It doesn't matter what has happened. What matters most is, what are we going to do with the time that we have left on the planet? I was talking to my grandchildren, and I said, there's something I want you to, they call me Papa, that you promise, Papa. And they said, what is it, Papa? I said, live your life the way you want to leave your life. I said, what do you mean? I said, I love helping people. If I knew that I had 3 weeks to live, I would increase my speaking engagements. I'd be doing a podcast every day, because this is what I do. Most people die a life of regrets. A lady who was a hospice nurse, and she said many of the people that she worked with, at the end of their lives, they talked about, they wished they had not spent so much time on a job that wasn't them, that they spent so much time pursuing money in things, and they didn't spend time building relationships and spending a life that would make a mark that people will remember, living a life that will outlive them. And so when I met Miles, and I said, Miles, words matter. I said, just adjusting your languaging style. Only 15% of people go to church, but adjusting how you communicate with people, you can talk to the 15% and the 85%. And then he challenged me. He said, this has been beneficial, because at that time he's earning like $500, $700 an hour. And when I work with him, it went up to 5,000 and beyond that. And so he said, words do matter. And he got broader invitations to speak for corporations beyond the church community. So this is a time that we have to share ideas. This is a time, I'm another generation, man. February 17th, I'm 80. How old are you?
37.
I got quotes older than you.
Right.
Okay, so I remember time when I thought that people were in their 40s were old. Now that I'm 80-ish, I feel like I served at the Lord's Supper, but I got some good tips. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Longevity, man. You have 53 years speaking, still highly requested to speak, still speaking everywhere, still. What's the key to longevity? Most people are here today, going tomorrow. They got a year in it. Share with me, is there a mindset? Is there a goal that you set that I have to hit that have kept you going? Like you will be a Jim Rohn in a textbook. You'll be the Tony, like you'll forever be etched in those worlds.
You're doing it now because you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. Most people speak to sell. I train speakers, and I teach them to speak to serve. When you create a message that you're able to orchestrate an experience, most speakers, they just want to tell their story. and give information. If information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. They can Google the information. They can call ChatGPT and get the information. But when you orchestrate an experience, you and I, we have an energy signature. There are things that you've experienced that no type of technology can ever duplicate your energy signature. You have a pulse, you have a heart. Technology does not have a heart. So that which you bring with your energy signature, with your creativity, we were created by the Creator to create, and you focus on serving people. That makes a tremendous difference. The speaking industry has been governed by the Dale Carnegie course. When I came out, there was no one on stage that looked like me. And even now, over 93% of the engagements, requests that I get are from white audiences. Black people know me as Les Brown, who was married to Gladys Knight, and white people know me as Les Brown, who changed my life. Okay, and I wasn't one of the pips. I was the conductor of the midnight train, okay? Yeah. But the key is that the Dale Carnegie course, they train people, and they're still going by this now, and it's a good course. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So when I came in, I was looking at Jim Rohn and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Robert Schuller and Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and said, what is it that I can do that will make me stand out? And so my mentor, Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff, I wrote the foreword to it, and he's been my mentor for 53 years. And he said, Brownie, and this is key for anybody that you're a speaker or a listener or a coach, he said, never let what you want to say get in the way of what the audience needs to hear.
Wow, that's good.
He said, in all thy getting, get understanding. Find out who they are, what they're looking for. Because when you speak, there are three questions going on. Who are you? People do business and are influenced and impacted by people that they get to know. Who are you? What do you have? That's a major question, because the experiences that you've had as you develop that message strategically and allowing me to see myself in your message, so your message becomes my message. And can I trust you? People want to know that, because they don't buy into your message, they buy into you first. Can I trust you? To create a connection, you can't correct unless you connect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. That's powerful.
So that gives you longevity in the industry when you're speaking to serve. If the greatest among you will be your servant. If you're just speaking to sell, you see members of the audience as a transaction.
Wow, that's good. Man, you got a lot of game and wisdom. So you talk about mentors, man, 53 years. What are some of the most impactful lessons that you've learned from mentors?
You can't read the label when you're locked in a box.
Explain that for me.
We all have what psychologists call scotomas, blind spots.
Yeah.
We've all had the experience of smelling someone's breath. It was kicking like Bruce Lee. Yeah. They didn't know, but you know. Yeah. And you backed up and they would step forward, okay? Yeah. Because you can't smell your own breath. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So it's very important for you to have a mentor, one who understands you, who watch you, and that you have a relationship with that can take you to a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. When he spoke to me and said, Brownie, you're better than this, man. What else can I do? I'm number one in the morning. He said, you can do a lot to help people. And so I bought into that. I remember, if you ever go online, I spoke in the Georgia Dome, 80,000 people. And I panicked. I locked myself in the bathroom, and they said, call his mentor, Mike Williams. And Mike came, he knocked on the door, he said, Brownie, what's up? I said, man, I'm scared. He said, why? I said, there's 80,000 people in there. I thought it was gonna be a banquet room. I said, I've never spoken to 80,000 people. He said, Brownie, can you hear me? I said, yes. He said, they came to see you. You didn't come to see them. I said, well, I'm still scared. I can't hear the voices, Mike. He said, Brownie, can you hear me? I said, yes. He said, do it for your mama. I said, don't use my mama on me, Mike. I said, oh my God. He said, you know how proud she'll be to say my boy spoke in the Georgia Dome? She'll tell Miss Winnie and all the neighbors. And this is what your program does. When people come on and you have guests, and when they hear you, how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves.
Wow.
So when we speak, when people watch you and they listen to the interviews, you distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract them from their current story. You get them to step out of their history, their personal narrative, and go into the imagination. We're taught, I'll give you all your eyes can see. That's why Einstein said that the imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And so you distract them from their current story as they listen and visit you and your guests and watch. You dismantle their current belief system of limitation, and you inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God, and start writing a new chapter with their lives.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful, man. You got a lot of wisdom.
Well, don't come for me. I didn't call for an Uber. Thank
Man, what has kept you sharp all these years, man? Like, I don't, like,
you. Yeah, well,
moving, grooving, like, just, because I need the formula. Like, there's a certain protocol, like,
you have to,
routines.
We're living in a time, as Peter Drucker said, that we must unlearn, learn, and relearn.
Yeah.
There are people who are failing, who are watching your program, who have the capacity to win, but they're trying to open up new doors with old keys. So when you think about Dr. Carter G. Woodson and the miseducation of the Negro, he said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. So we have been conditioned to feel small. We've been taught, Lord, I'm not worthy. And so what you're doing when people see a mantra, greatness, and what you cause them to do is to begin to reflect on themselves. It's about, who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? Because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up someplace else.
Wow.
So helping people to identify.
You don't know where you're going, you're going to end up somewhere else.
Yes, and so you have a program saying, greatness, you got greatness in you. And our goal here to bring guests to remind you of that. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. Now what you're doing is activating in them a hunger to want to do something with that, to get in touch with that, to live a life that will outlive them.
Yeah. Let me ask you, with that being said on the hunger piece, I mean, I've never heard of a bigger speaker than you as an African-American man, especially earlier on. Like when I was watching YouTube videos, Africa was you, right? It wasn't so, and you were like, what kept you hungry for more, as if not settling? Like, I
am so glad you asked me this question, because I'm working with a brother named Odell, who's very, very talented brother, helping people to get into the speaking business. And he invited me as a guest. And I asked them, I said, I wanted you to listen to me. I want to ask you, why do you want to speak? Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can almost endure almost anyhow. I wanted to be able to take care of my mother. I promised my mother, here I am, I'm one of 7 children that she took out of foster care and she adopted us. And I said, Mama, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to take care of you. You won't ever go to a nursing home. She used to work in a nursing home, and she always said she never wanted to go to a nursing home. I was elected to the Ohio legislature, and my sister called me and said, Leslie, are you sitting down? And I asked, what's wrong with Mama? She said, Mama's got breast cancer. I said, I'll be right there. She said, you can't. I said, what do you mean? You just got reelected to the Ohio legislature. You're the chairman of the education committee. And they're grooming you to run for statewide office. I said, I enjoy politics, but I love mama. Yeah. Leslie, they got nice nursing homes here. I said, listen to me. So I had a problem. How can one woman raise 7 children that she didn't give birth to, and 7 grown people can't take care of one woman? I said, I'll be there.
Wow.
And so I resigned from the Ohio legislature. I went back to Miami. I'll never forget, a friend of hers named Miss Mildred was there. And I rang the doorbell, and she came to the door, and she said, oh my God, Leslie. I said, yes, ma'am. And I heard my mother ask in the background, Mildred, who's that? And she said, it's Leslie. And I heard my mother say, I knew he would come. I knew he would come. And so I'm saying to people who say they want to speak, have a reason, whatever goal you have. You want to have your own business. You want to do something major with your life. Have something that you can anchor yourself on that gives your life a sense of purpose and meaning. In the German concentration camps in Auschwitz, in Viktor Frankl's book called Man's Search for Meaning, he said the Jews that were able to survive the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism, they either had some loved one that they were determined to see, or some spiritual development that they anchored themselves into, or some cause that they believed in, that it would not break their spirit. Yeah. And so when I went on this trip,
he was walking in that snow for a long time.
Yeah, man.
He was different.
Yes, and so people who have purpose, they're different. If you don't have purpose, something
that's
to
another
anchor
level
yourself
of purpose,
to.
though.
Absolutely.
What they was going through. That man
what
was,
we went through.
Yeah.
You think about what James Weldon Johnson said, stony the road we trod, bitter the chesting rod, fell in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. We went through the worst form of man's inhumanity to man in the world. No one had ever gone through that. Auschwitz, that can't even compare to what has been done to us, and they're trying to revisit that place again. And so, but we are the descendants of the ones that would not die.
Wow.
And so there is something in us, there's something in you and I, the irreducible essence of who we are, that no matter what life throws at us, that we will rise, as Maya Angelou would say.
Wow. Let me ask, right now, what are you doing now? Are you still reading? Are you still
Yes, I read 30 to 40 pages a day.
Wow, what
every
you tapping
day.
into right now?
What I'm reading now and revisiting
and give me your top 3 all-time favorite books.
The Road to Your Best Stuff by Mike Williams. Okay. I wrote the foreword for that because he saw me. He took this guy who never knew his father, and it was a 2 years difference between us, but he was like a father to me, and he helped me to make some good decisions. There were periods in my life I was temporarily insane. Okay, let's round the bat about town. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. So he found me and he helped to groom me, okay, and get the crazy out. And so, but the other book that I love very much, it's called As a Man Thinketh.
So what's he? James Allen, right?
James Allen, yes. And they have a version As a Woman Thinketh. And another book that I enjoy is The Miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, because we have been miseducated. If you look at what's going on now, when you have people actively working to take our history out of the books, why? When you have a strong sense of identity, that gives your life a sense of purpose. And when your life has a sense of purpose, that gives your life a sense of direction. So we have been groomed to be spectators, to consume entertainment, as opposed to consuming information and educating ourselves in this era of accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. It's a new place. And so we have to do what you're doing, and your partners and people who've been watching you, is make artificial intelligence our ally. We were created by the Creator to create. And so there's a part of us that this place demands that we step up and step away from the behaviors that does not represent the greatness that is within us.
That's good.
And challenge us to dig within to bring out the next greatest version of ourselves. You think about Lion King, Simba, you are more than that which you have become. And this is what your program is about. You are more than that which you have become. Are you talking about me and I can't even find a job, but I just got out of jail? Yeah, you got greatness in you. And so as we bring that mantra over and over again and deliver it to people in a way that they can hear it at all levels, we are able to change the culture. Cultures are treated by people and they can be changed by people. When you look at the killings that are taking place in Atlanta and around the country, that it represents the collective thinking of people. And there's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Yeah. So we've been groomed for discard, to hate ourselves. And so when you have something that says you have greatness in you, it causes you to ask yourself, am I in alignment with what I'm hearing? And what is it I need to do? And if a man is to gain his life, he must lose his life. We got to die to who we have been to give birth to who we are to become. You will get to see a future that I won't get to see. But the things that I'm learning and doing, you're going to take it to a whole new level. And those who are watching now, because of the fact that I'm here because of Miles Monroe, I'm here because of Dr. Benjamin Mays. I'm here because of Malcolm X and Dr. King. And so we're standing on shoulders of giants and Andrew Young. And so as we're moving forward in the future, this communication with us, this is major.
Yeah, I was just actually a guest. I went to the mayor's event and I was a guest of Dr. Andrew Young, one of my friends. That's how I got in through them. So that was pretty cool.
Yes.
I met him and his wife. So
yes, wonderful couple. I saw them at the event recently with our very good friend John Hope Bryant.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he's done a lot.
He's no nonsense.
Absolutely, and I just love the standards that he has and how he's held himself to a higher standard. And to hear a brother like you, who can hold a conversation. And I train kids. I'm going to be doing a training with some kids this summer. And I teach them that profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind.
Wow. That's good.
When you hear so many of these athletes, our kids are watching them. They're heroes. And they just use profanity one after the other, the females as well as the guys. And words matter. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Thou shalt decree a thing that shall be established unto you. And so your languaging style, it affects people. It creates a certain kind of mindset and says a lot about how you see yourself.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, you're watching your stuff has helped me, just really seeing how you've done it and just it's motivated me to get better. So I just always want.
Well, you motivated me. I came up in here. I said, you know what? I thought I had a studio. I got a stew. Okay. I ain't got no studio.
That's why they said, hey, I want to do it virtually, and I got a whole virtual setup. But I said, nah, I need him to come in. I got to meet the GOAT in person. We got to do this conversation face to face.
Oh, we're gonna do a partnership. This is the beginning of a relationship. This is a God moment for me. I feel so honored to be in your presence.
No, same, man. No, so yeah, I'm grateful, man. I want to ask you, like right now, I mean, you're literally like every day you're living out like people's dreams. Like there's so many people listening to this and they're not living out their dreams. What would be your word for them? There's so many people that I don't like. It's a thing where it's like they're motivated, they're inspired, But I feel as though they don't believe they can do it. Like there's a concept where people are.
But because of our mental conditioning. So
Yeah. How you get out of that mental condition? Like I spent years. I'm reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Who Move My Cheese, Think and Grow Rich. Like I'm digging in deep. I have your books on my shelf. Like digging in deep. So I've been able to develop for years.
Yes, but here's what you're doing. The reason that we're taught the road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it. You're among the few, because most people won't put in the time to read. Yeah. I remember listening to this lecture, and this guy said, the average American reads 1 book a year. If you read 1 book a month in 5 years, you would have read 60 books. Then the average American would have read 5 books. That will make you an expert. So I said, okay, I'm gonna read 3 a month. Why? I don't have any college education. I was labeled educable mental retarded. I was put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and I failed again in the 8th grade at Booker T. Washington High School. My goal was not to be a black speaker. My goal was to be a dominant speaker. I wanted to speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric, IBM, Xerox. And so I wanted to do what Mr. Washington said. Mr. Brown, you want to make it in life? I said, yes, sir. He said, number 1, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number 2, practice OQP, only quality people. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. If you run around with 9 broke people, he said, I guarantee you will become number 10. And he said, number 3, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. He was so right. I was at a convention with a major pharmaceutical company in Fort Lauderdale, and I saw this sign called the Danger Zone. And I just finished speaking for this company, and I asked him, what does the danger zone mean? And he said, we're teaching and training doctors who are coming in from around the world how to convince their patients to take their hypertension medication so that they won't have a stroke or heart attack. So I asked him, do you have hypertension? He said, yes. I asked him, why do you take your medication? He said, I want to live. I said, well, why are you having a fear-based campaign? He said, that's a good point. He said, can you train doctors? I said, absolutely. You got to have absolute faith. Yeah. That contract, 16 speaking engagements, 1 month. They even flew me to Sweden, $640,000.
Wow.
When I was in Sweden, someone raised their hands and said, Dr. Brown, will we ask you a question? And the host said, he's not a doctor. He's not? No, in fact, he was labeled educable mentally retarded. How does he know so much about what we do? He did research. We can tell when he talked about going from one patient to the other, stopping and looking at their name on the clipboard and going there and talk to them and make sure you touch their hand. That decreases the possibility of a malpractice suit being filed against you by 26%. He did his research.
Wow.
That's the value of never let what you want to say get in the way of what someone else wants to hear. The doctors were there talking from a medical perspective, but they didn't get to know the man who wrote the check.
Wow.
That makes a difference.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez. You got a lot of stories.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
You got a lot of stories. Well, give me I wanna give a couple speakers some gems. What are some keys for them standing out?
Learn more than your story. Learn how to augment your story with quotes, with statistics, and take the time to know the audience so that when you have a working knowledge of who they are and what they do, and you incorporate that in your presentation, they'll say, whoa,
He's prepared.
he knows who we are. He's done his homework. So that's important, knowing more than your story. The other thing is that create an experience. In order to change human behavior, Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or story, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. When you create an experience with your energy signature, people will leave there feeling better about themselves, but talking about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this. So for me, I'm so energetic when I'm speaking. Like I'm coming out running. Like it's different. Do you think educating them more is better or inspiring them more? Like, what do you think? What is the last thing? I think I was
Neil,
told.
in every audience, there are audiences inside of each audience.
Yeah.
People separated by income, by gender,
Yeah.
by their education, by their position, by their title. And so you want to have a mantra like greatness that says, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to share with you, as you think about your goals and dreams, you got greatness in you. You can do more than you can ever begin to imagine. But what I want you to know now, I'm challenging you, is that you got to push yourself. George Washington Carver said, do what you can where you are, what you have, and never be satisfied. When you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are. So you act like you don't have any. And you're going to have pushback.
Wow. Wait, so when you're pursuing
When
your
you're pursuing your greatness,
limits.
you don't know what your limits are. So you act like you don't have any.
Wow.
Yeah, you become what I call intelligently ignorant.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to the laws of aerodynamics, a bumblebee isn't supposed to fly. But the bumblebee doesn't know it. And so it keeps on flying anyway. It's intelligently ignorant. You don't know what you can't do.
I be having people like, yo, I be like, hey, we need to get this done today. We can't get it done today. We need to get it done today. And it gets done.
Yeah, because they were suffering from possibility blindness.
Tell me about that.
Possibility blindness, you can be faced with an opportunity, but because of your mindset, you will only see the obstacles.
Wow.
But if you're a perpetual optimist like Neil, you can be confronted with obstacles and all you will see will be the opportunities.
That's good. That's good right there. That's powerful right there. Possibility blindness. Yeah. I mean, I want people to know it's so much more out here for them, man.
Yes, but it's so much more in them. You know the difference between what I do and what you do compared to what ministers do?
What's that?
Ministers preach the gospel about Jesus. We preach the gospel that Jesus preached. They sell the messenger. We sell the message. When the disciples were amazed at the miracles that Jesus did, he said, these things ye shall do, and greater things shall ye do. When they demanded of him when the kingdom of God shall come, he said, the kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, it's neither lo there, lo here. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And guess what? That kingdom is voice activated. So when you speak with power, feeling, and conviction, when you share your story of what you've overcome and how you came to become the person that you are now, you ignite in them the greatness to challenge themselves and to push themselves that I can do more. If Neil can do it, I got it like that too.
Yeah, powerful. Man, well, I want to just say thank you for just you blessing the stage today with just your wisdom. I'm inspired. I'm motivated. If I could just be half of what you are at 80, man, I'm talking about you got it going on, man.
Well, thank you, my brother.
Yeah, you got it going. I'm telling you, I mean, you moving, you swift, you sharp. Like, I appreciate I'm inspired, man.
Well, thank you. You know, I told my kids, and they tell you that I have died. I said, don't let them embalm me for 3 days. And then sneak in the morgue and put a microphone in my hand. If I don't pick it up and say, you got to be hungry, just say, Dad's gone now. Yeah. He's out of here. How you know? We put a microphone in his hand and he didn't say nothing.
I mean, what do you say when you talk to your kids about, like, as death as that is a serious thing? It's two things for certain: when we born and when we die. Most people aren't even talking about it. You're jokingly about it, but how are those conversations happening?
The fact is, we all have an expiration date. And that's why I tell them, live your life the way you want to leave your life. One. The other thing is that your parents' ceiling is your floor.
Yeah.
All kids are supposed to go beyond their parents, and that live this life in a way that you're living a life that will outlive you, and that you make a mark. Most people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65.
That's a fact.
Yeah, they settle for a life of mediocrity, but there are some people that I call the dominators. There are some people that no matter where you put them and what they go through, you take their eyesight, you got a Stevie Wonder. You take their ability to walk, and you have a Roosevelt. There's some people that no matter what you do or how you throw them, they're going to find a way to win because of a hunger in their heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also.
That's good. That's good. Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking time out to be on the show. Please let everybody know how they could tap in with you or what you got going on. And how
Well,
they can
anybody
tap in.
that's serious about and have a hunger to manifest their greatness, they can reach me at Les Brown 77 @gmail.com.
And that's your real email address when you're using your Gmail, because I still use my Gmail. They're like,
That's
what about
right.
your professional one, man? Listen,
No.
mine is Gmail.
Yeah, lesbrown77 @gmail.com. For people who want to become a part of our training on hungry for greatness and how to tap into their greatness, and if they have a passion for wanting to learn how to tell their story and create an experience with their story to transform an audience individually and collectively, to speak, to serve, and to create a legacy with their story.
That's good. Make sure you guys tap in, y'all. Make sure y'all follow. And I would say, Mr. Les, if you could leave him with just an encouraging word in this session.
Always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. You were born and preserved for such a time as this. You're a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Y'all, that's where we have it. The legend, Les Brown himself. We'll see you guys on the next show. Make sure y'all will add some more information about him below so you can support him, books, his programs, and everything. And we'll see you on the next show, y'all. Peace.